right, so picture this. It's been a few months since all hell broke loose in Jersey. Mikey Palmas is pushing daisies, Chucky Signore's swimming with the fishes, and Livia's laid up in a hospital bed. The smoke's finally starting to clear, and for a second there, it almost feels like things are normal again. Almost. Tony's off the lithium and the shrink, so he's back to doing what every wise guy does when his brain starts acting up. Self-medicating. A couple glasses of scotch here, a few late nights with the Gooma there. Dr. Melfi, meanwhile, she's running therapy sessions out of some fleabag motel, still looking over her shoulder. Chris Moltisanti? He's pulling one of his classic stunts. Hires some poor schmuck to take his stockbroker exam so he can play Gordon Gekko without ever learning the job. Next morning, Tony goes out for the paper and sees this old Buick Riviera parked across the street. He freezes, thinking it's another hit, the kind of thing that starts with a windshield glare and ends in the obituaries. Then the door opens, and out steps Big Pussy Bonpensiero. Pussy says he's been in Puerto Rico, getting back surgery and fooling around with his acupuncturist. Says he couldn't tell his wife. Says he didn't feel safe in Jersey after all the heat. Tony don't buy it. He hugs him, pats him down for a wire mid-embrace. Pussy gets insulted, starts talking tough, so Tony gives him another hug, this time for real. That's Tony. Never let a guy know which hug's the one that matters. At the Bing, the crew welcomes Pussy back like he just came home from the war. Silvio's doing his Godfather impressions. Everybody's laughing, drinking, acting like things are fine. But Tony's got eyes on Pussy the whole night. Half friend, half suspect. Next thing, Tony decides it's time for a little house cleaning. Philly spoons. Parisi's been running his mouth, talking about Tony seeing a shrink and maybe wanting his mother gone. Not the kind of thing you gossip about when the boss is still breathing. So Tony gives Gigi Sestone the job. Says it'll look less obvious if it comes from one of Junior's own guys. Tony makes a call from a payphone, voice calm as can be. It's over, he tells Melfi. You can come home. Meanwhile, Chris finally gets his shot at being a big-time stockbroker. He's head of compliance, which basically means he's the crook in charge of keeping the other crooks in line. They're pushing some scam stock called Wabistics. Total garbage. And Chris leaves two of his guys, Matt Bevilacqua and Sean Gismonte, to run the floor while he takes Adriana down the shore for a meeting. The kids don't last an hour before they're pouring hot coffee on some poor broker who refuses to scam retirees. Beat the guy half to death right in the office. Next day, Tony gets the call. Firm's complaining about an incident. He tells Chris to shape up or he'll end up selling penny stocks in Newark. Then Carmela calls. Says Tony's sister Janice is back in town. The family's resident free spirit. Part hippie, part con artist. Tony groans. Knows she's gonna cost him at least $5,000 before she leaves. Still, he invites her over. Says maybe they'll do a little family reunion. But one rule, no Livia. Later, Tony's driving, thinking about everything, when his CD starts skipping. That tiny noise sends him spiraling. Panic attack hits like a freight train. He loses control, crashes into a barricade. Airbag saves his life, but not his nerves. He tries seeing another shrink, using a fake name. The guy takes one look at him and says, "Sorry, I've seen Analyze This. I'm not taking new clients. The party's nice, all things considered. Everyone's laughing, eating, pretending they're one big happy family. Everyone except Tony. He's sitting there simmering over his mother, over everything. Across the room, Janice and Barbara are talking about him. Janice says Tony's hogging the inheritance. Barbara says he's being fair. Same old family drama, just with better catering. Next morning, Tony meets Melfi in a diner. She tells Tony to get out of her life. You can see it hurts him. For once, the tough guy looks like a kid getting scolded. He goes home early, quiet, beat. Carmela's surprised to see him. She warms up some leftover spaghetti and Tony just sits there eating, watching her go through the mail. All right, picture this. Tony's in one of those moods. The kind where every little thing rubs him raw. He's heading to see Uncle June in the can. He gets there, sits across from Junior in that sterile little room with the buzzing lights and the guards looking bored out of their minds. Tony leans in, gives him that look. The one that says, "Don't play me. You're lucky I'm letting you earn," he tells him. Junior, trying to keep a shred of dignity, says, "Livia had nothing to do with the hit. You don't talk business. Just says he wants a sit-down with Bobby Bacala, Junior's big, slow, loyal foot soldier. Cut to the pork store. Bobby waddles in, smelling like cold cuts and Old Spice. Tony tells him Junior can keep a few things. The Shylock racket, the pipe fitters union. But everything else, that's Tony's now. Junior might still look like the boss, but everyone knows who's really pulling the strings. Bobby, trying to sound profound, drops this line. To the victor belongs the spoils. Tony just squints, shakes his head, and tells him to shove his quote book up his fat fucking ass. Next day, Junior's lawyer, this slick old-timer named Harold Melvoin, works some magic in court. Says Junior's got a bad ticker and shouldn't be in a cell. The judge buys it, puts him on house arrest with one of those shiny ankle bracelets. Junior's only allowed out for groceries, family, or the doctor. So there they are at one of those doctor visits. Junior leans in, says this guy Fred Capuano, who runs the Green Grove nursing home, has been talking out of school. Tony Soprano likes to fluff his mother's pillows, he says. Not smart. Couple days later, a state trooper finds Capuano's Cadillac abandoned off the road. Meanwhile, Big Pussy's playing both sides of the street. He's back from surgery, hobbling around, and his friend, FBI agent Skip Lipari, gives him a ride home. Turns out Pussy's been working with the feds since '98, but nobody knows how deep. Now that Jimmy Altieri's been clipped, the feds want Pussy to step up. Pussy plays the part, and as says he's all in, wants to help. But he's feeding the Bureau garbage. Half-truths, deflections, whatever keeps his neck off the line. Tony's got his own fires to put out. Massaroni Brothers Construction's getting heat from protesters because they ain't got enough black workers on site. Jack Massarone calls Tony for a favor, and Tony delivers. Sends in a few associates to talk to the protesters. And just like that, the noise dies down. Later, Tony pays a visit to Reverend James Jr., who, surprise, surprise, is in on the scam. Turns out he started the protest so Tony could fix them, a little mutual back-scratching. The Reverend leans back, all smiles, says, "My protesters would kill me if they knew I was lining my pockets with their blood." Tony just nods. Another day, another hustle. Back at the hospital, Janice is still hovering around Livia's bedside, trying to play the dutiful daughter. Livia's as miserable as ever. Nothing's good enough, not even breathing. Janice, trying to connect, asks Meadow what her grandmother actually likes. Meadow says, opera, show tunes, all that old world crap. So Janice goes out, buys some records, and plays them for Livia. And for a minute, just a minute, the Ice Queen melts. Eyes get glassy. Maybe she's remembering something sweet. Then she starts choke. Bam. Nurse rushes in. Chaos. The nurse pulls Janice aside, asks if she wants to make Livia a DNR. Janice ain't sure, so she goes to Tony. Says, do whatever, maybe even move into Ma's house if you want. A J overhears DNR and asks if it's like DNA. The kid's trying to write a paper. Livia hears about the DNR talk and loses it. Why? So you cannot resuscitate me? Classic Livia. Guilt trips from the grave. That night, Junior's at home in his bathrobe trying to shave when he slips in the tub. Bobby Bacala calls Tony in a panic. Tony rushes over, finds his uncle lying there like a busted-up walrus. Junior don't want to call an ambulance, too proud. So Tony, the same guy who once put out a hit on him, scoops him up like a baby and carries him to the ER himself. And that's the thing about Tony. Under all the rage, the money, the betrayals, there's still a piece of him that gives a damn. Just don't tell him that. All right, picture this. The air's thick with that Jersey summer haze, the kind that smells like hot asphalt and marinara. Out walks Richie Aprile. Yeah, that Richie. Straight out of the can after 10 long years. Same slick hair, same leather jacket, same mean little smirk. The guy's been gone a decade, but he thinks the world's been on pause waiting for his return. Spoiler alert, it hasn't. First stop, Beansy Gator's Pizzeria. Beansy used to be one of Richie's guys back in the day, but now he's legit. Runs a clean joint, nice house, steady business. Richie strolls in all fake smiles and mobbed-up charm, talking about how he wants what's owed to him. Beansy, trying to keep it civil, tells him those days are over. But Richie, you don't like hearing no next thing you know? Beansy's eating a plate of his own garlic knots. Through his nose. Richie beats him half to death right there in the store. That's respect, Richie says. Welcome home, Richie Aprile. Meanwhile, Tony's got a different fire to put out. His daughter, Meadow, threw a drug-fueled party at Grandma Livia's house. The cop on Tony's payroll drops the dime, and Tony's livid. Him and Carmela start going back and forth about punishment. Carm's thinking grounding. Tony's thinking murder. Then Meadow, cool as ice, plays it smart, says, "Take away my credit card for 3 weeks." Tony thinks, "Look at my kid taking responsibility." Turns out she's got cash stashed anyway. The little genius played both her parents like a pair of slot machines. Janice, of course, sticks her nose where it don't belong. At first, she defends Meadow, saying it's just her finding herself or some hippie crap like that. Carmela, all polite but deadly, tells her to butt out. Then Janice sees the wreck at Livia's house. Beer cans, puke stains, you name it. And suddenly, she's Judge Judy. Starts telling Tony and Carm what lousy parents they are. They blow up, she storms out, and Meadow overhears the whole thing looking like she just kicked a puppy. Later, Janice and Carm patch things up because, Italian families. We fight, we make up, we eat. Cut to Dr. Melfi. She's out having dinner, looking classy, when she spots Tony sitting across the restaurant with his associates. Guys name things like Paulie Walnuts and Big Pussy. Not exactly Rotary Club material. It's awkward as hell. Tony gives her a nod like, "Hey, Doc," and she damn near chokes on her wine. Later, she's venting to her own shrink, Dr. Kupferberg, saying she's embarrassed, conflicted. Wonders if she did the right thing by cutting Tony off. Kupferberg gives her the old therapist Zen riddle. Depends why you became a psychiatrist. That night, Melfi dreams Tony crashes his car after running out of Prozac. Wakes up in a sweat, scribbling it all down in her little Freud diary. Back in Soprano land, Tony throws a welcome home party for Richie. The whole gang's there. Envelopes of cash, cigars, bad suits. Richie's eating it up, playing the maid man again. But when he asks where Beansy is, someone says, "Haven't seen him." Richie grins, because he knows exactly why. A few nights later, Beansy's out driving his Jag, thinking it's over. Richie shows up again, shoots at him, chases him down like a lunatic. Beansy tries to crawl back to his car, and Richie, get this, runs him over. Breaks his back. Guy's never walking again. Tony visits Beansy in the hospital. The wife's hysterical. The doctor's got nothing good to say. Tony's steaming. Later, he calls Richie in, rips him a new one, says, "You ever go rogue on me again, I'll bury you next to him." Richie just stands there, smiling that snake smile, like he's testing how far he can push the boss. Then, fate being the twisted bastard it is, Richie and Janice run into each other at a yoga class. Yeah, yoga. He's in there stretching like a bowling ball in a rubber band, and she's talking about chakras and forgiveness. They start reminiscing, flirting, talking about the old days. Next thing you know, Richie's showing up at the hospital with flowers for Livia, playing the charmer. Janice tries to act all spiritual. Says they're in different places now. Richie just smirks. Maybe we can meet halfway. Tony, meanwhile, swings by Livia's house to change the locks, just in case his mother decides to haunt the place. But there's Meadow, scrubbing floors, cleaning up, acting all contrite. Tony just stands there, stunned. He don't say nothing. Just looks at her like he's seeing a side of his daughter he ain't seen before. Then he turns, gets back in his car, and drives off. A little proud, a little confused, maybe both. Because that's life in Jersey, right? One minute you're burying old grudges, the next you're running them over in a Jaguar. All right, picture this. It's one of those slow Jersey nights. Tony's sitting around with the guys, trying to watch a bootleg of The Godfather Part 2. The tape's all grainy, lines rolling through the picture. But nobody cares. It's The Godfather, right? Tony hits pause halfway through and drops the bomb. He, Paulie, and Chrissy are going to Naples. Yeah, Naples, the old country. Gonna make a deal with the Camorra about moving stolen cars overseas. Real business trip, mob style. But when he tells Carmela, oh boy, she's not having it. You'll fly halfway around the world with those goons but not take your family anywhere? Tony tries to tell her it's business, all work, no fun. But she's looking at him like she just caught him with lipstick on his shirt collar. While Tony's packing for Naples, Carmela's having lunch with Richie Aprile and Angie Bonpensiero, Pussy's wife. Angie looks like death warmed over. Then she drops the big one. She's thinking about killing herself. The table goes dead silent. Even Carmela, who's seen it all, don't know what to say. But Pussy's got bigger problems. He's working for the feds now, their little pet rat, and it's eating him alive. He's sweating, losing sleep, paranoid as hell. One day he's meeting his handler, Agent Skip Lipari, and who happens to spot him? Jimmy Bones, one of Tony's made guys. Pussy and Skip try to play it off like it's nothing, but Jimmy ain't buying it. So that night, Pussy shows up at Jimmy's house, says they gotta talk. Next thing you know, Pussy's got a ball-peen hammer in his hand. Cut to Naples. Tony, Paulie, and Chrissy touch down, looking like three guys who've never left Essex County in their lives. They meet this guy, Furio. Slick ponytail, leather jacket, looks like he stepped out an Italian crime flick. He tells Tony that Don Vittorio, the boss they came to meet, won't be showing up for dinner. Tony's pissed. He flew 4,000 miles for this. Then, they find out the Don's gone full senile, his son-in-law's doing life, and guess who's running things now? The daughter, Annalisa. Now, Tony don't like it. Not because she's not capable, but because she's a woman. Still, she's sharp, calm, and beautiful, in that way that makes a guy forget what the hell he was talking about. But before any of that, Tony gets a front row seat to how things work in Naples. He and Paulie step outside after dinner and watch Furio and his crew beat the hell out of some kid who set off firecrackers near him, and his mother too. Tony's face says it all. These guys ain't playing around. So Tony sits down with Annalisa again. There's this weird tension. Half business, half something else. She's flirting. He's trying to keep it professional, but you can tell the guy's sweating under the collar. She wants a deal. Tony wants Furio on his crew. Annalisa laughs it off and says Furio's too valuable. Tony says fine. He'll cut her a better deal on the cars if she sends Furio stateside. A few glasses of wine later, she agrees. They spend a day seeing the sights, talking about family and tradition. But when she comes on to him, Tony backs off. Strictly business, he says. Yeah, sure, Tone. Meanwhile, Chris is sneaking off to shoot up. Junk's got him tight. Paulie's wandering around the city like a lost tourist, trying to find his roots. He hates it. The traffic, the people, the smell. How the hell did we ever leave this dump? He mutters. Back home, things are still a mess. Pussy's spiraling, Angie's miserable, and Carmela's got too much time to think. Finally, the boys fly back. All right, picture this. The Soprano crew's getting a little makeover. Tony's got his new guy, Furio Giunta, fresh off the plane from Naples. Tony's having dinner at Nuovo Vesuvio, the kind of joint where the wine's good, the pasta's better, and Artie Bucco's sweating in the kitchen like he's serving the Pope. Tony tells him, "Hey, Art, do me a favor? Hire Furio. Let him make mozzarella or something." Artie gives him that nervous laugh, says the kitchen's full, and besides, his wife Charmaine ain't gonna go for it. Tony leans in. You know that tone that means it's not really a request, and says he'll cover the guy's wages. Artie folds, like always. Sure, Tone. We'll give him a trial run. Next thing you know, Tony's throwing this big welcome party for Furio. Booze, cigars, the works. But Pussy, big Pussy, he's sitting there stewing in the corner. He don't like how fast Tony's fallen for this new guy. You can see it in his eyes. Jealousy, paranoia, the whole cocktail. Then Uncle Junior and Bobby Bacala show up at Tony's house. Yeah, the same Junior who once had a hit put on him. Carmela answers the door, sees him standing there, and bang, slams it right in their faces. No hesitation. That's Jersey hospitality for you. Later, Tony sends Furio out on his first job. A couple who run a dirty little brothel owe Tony money. Furio don't waste time negotiating. He walks in, beats the husband half to death, shoots him in the kneecap, and smacks the wife around for good measure. That's the Neapolitan way. Quick, brutal, and efficient. When he's done, Tony's smiling like he just signed a first-round draft pick. Meanwhile, Dr. Melfi's wrestling with her conscience. She's talking to her own shrink, Dr. Kupferberg, about taking Tony back as a client. She tells him about this dream she had. Tony crashing his car, blood everywhere. And she's starting to think maybe that was her guilt talking. She calls Tony, says she's got an opening if he wants it. At first he says no, claims he's doing fine without therapy. But you can hear it in his voice. He misses her. And sure enough, next day he's sitting back on that couch. Then you got Christopher. Poor kid's trying to find himself. Adriana signs him up for this acting class, says it'll help with his creative side. He goes, and right away he's hating it. The teacher's all artsy-fartsy, talking about truth and emotion. Chris tries to play it cool, but when he's acting out this scene from Rebel Without a Cause, something cracks. The guy's crying in front of a room full of strangers. He runs out humiliated like a tough guy caught holding a kitten. Next class, he snaps on his partner. Beats him bloody over a stupid exercise. Adriana says maybe it's because of his father's death, but Chris don't want to hear it. That night, he dumps his whole screenplay, the one he thought would make him famous, into a dumpster. Just like that, gone. Back at home, Tony's losing it again. Janice decides she's taking out a loan on Ma's old house, wants to renovate it. Tony shows up, and guess who's there? Richie Aprile. Spent the night with her. Tony's face goes red. Richie's the last guy he wants anywhere near his sister. Later, Tony stops by Hesh's place. You know, the old-timer who used to run with his dad. He tells him about the panic attacks, the blackouts, the whole 9 yards. How come Gambino or Lucky Luciano never had these problems? He says. Hesh just shrugs, says Johnny Boy. Tony's old man sure had him too, just not as bad. Twice a year, maybe. Tony looks stunned, like someone just told him Santa Claus was real. But it don't help. He's still feeling like something's broken inside. And Pussy? He's still sneaking around with his FBI guy, Lipari, crying about how Tony's pushing him aside for Paulie and Silvio. Next thing you know, Paulie and Johnny Sack are sitting down to talk business. And Pussy gets told to take a walk. Meanwhile, Furio, the new kid, gets to stay. Pussy don't say nothing, but the look on his face says it all. It's that mix of rage and fear. The kind of look a guy gets when he realizes the walls are closing in and there's nowhere left to hide. All right, so picture this. It's college night at Meadow School. Tony's walking through the halls, playing the proud dad for once. When who does he bump into but Davey Scatino? Old friend, class clown, now running a little sporting goods store over in Ramsey. And before Tony can even take a breath, Davey starts poking around about the executive game. The big one. The kind of poker table where men lose their houses just for a seat. Tony laughs it off. Dave, you don't want to sit at that table. The buy-in alone's more than you clear in a month. Stick to golf. Dave nods. All smiles, but you can tell. The guy's got that itch. You know the type. Always looking for the shortcut. The fast track to respect. Next thing you know, Dave's playing cards with Richie Aprile and some neighborhood degenerates in a low-stakes game. Loses, of course. Richie starts coming by the store looking for his cut. And let me tell you, when Richie comes to collect, he don't bring a calculator. Don't come to my games again till you pay up, Richie says. Meanwhile, Tony's sitting across from Dr. Melfi. Then you got Tom Giglione's funeral. Guy just retired. Next day falls off a roof. Classic Jersey luck. Tony's standing there paying respects when Livia, yeah, his mother walks in like the ghost of Christmas past. He goes red. She's dead to me, he mutters. But she's still showing up at Meadow's school performances like nothing happened. So the big night comes. The executive game. It's like a mobster's version of the Oscars. Sinatra Jr.'s there, Johnny Sack, Silvio. Even Dr. Ira Fried, the sex doctor. The cigars are fat, the cards are flying, and everyone's losing big money with a smile. Then in walks Davey Scatino. You can see that gambler's gleam in his eye. Finally, Tony sighs, lets him in for $5,000. And wouldn't you know it, Davey wins. He's smiling, laughing, drinking like he's Sinatra himself. But by sunrise, he's $45,000 in the hole. Turns out he borrowed against Tony while Tony was asleep. That's suicide with cards. Richie hears about it, storms into the motel where the game was held, and nearly chokes Dave to death for even showing up when he still owes him $8,000. Tony has to drag Richie off him, pulls him outside, and gives him that quiet death stare. He don't pay you a dime until he pays me, Tony says. And you're not collecting interest, you're not making calls. Nothing. Capiche? Richie swallows his pride and apologizes. You can see he wants to break something, but He knows better. Later that night, Richie's driving with Janice, Tony's sister, telling her Tony's a good guy deep down. Janice, of course, starts whispering poison. He's not doing you favors, Richie. He's keeping you under his thumb. You can practically see the wheels turning in Richie's head. Davy's world starts collapsing. He can't pay Tony, can't pay Richie, can't even look his family in the eye. Tony finally goes down to the store, smacks him around a little. Old school lesson in accountability. Davy's desperate. As partial payment, Davy hands over his kid's car, a nice new Pathfinder. Tony shrugs, takes it, and gives it to Meadow, but she figures it out right away. It's her friend Eric's ride. She refuses it, calls him out. Tony loses it, starts yelling about how everything she's ever had came from his work, his sweat, his blood. Carmela tries to reason with him, says the Scatinos have connections at Georgetown, and this could mess up Meadow's college shot. Then comes the school cabaret night. Meadow's supposed to sing a duet with Eric, but the kids had enough. Storming off right before curtain call. Meadow goes on alone, singing through the pain, while Carmela's sitting there trying to smile for the crowd. Tony, he's watching with that blank stare. Not sorry, not proud, just numb. Because that's the thing about Tony Soprano. He wants to be Gary Cooper, the strong, silent type. But deep down, he knows. Gary Cooper never had to explain to his daughter why her best friend's car is parked in his driveway. All right, let me set the scene for you. So AJ, Tony's kid, he's at that age where he's too young to be smart and too old to be cute. One afternoon, he takes Carmela's car out for a joyride. No license, no clue. And bang, sideswipes a parked truck, scratches up the side, mirrors hanging by a thread like a loose tooth. So Tony and Carm sit him down, do the whole, you could have killed somebody. This kid just shrugs and says, that'd be interesting. Says death shows the ultimate absurdity of life. Turns out AJ's been reading Camus, The Stranger, and now he's decided God's dead and confirmation's a waste of time. Tony's spinning. Goes to Melfi like, is this normal? My kid's talking about life being meaningless. Melfi, calm as ever, says it's all part of being a teenager. Existential crisis, hormones, all that jazz. So they send the kid to Livia, Tony's mother, for wisdom. Big mistake. She tells him life is meaningless. Says everybody dies alone in their own arms. The poor kid's looking for answers and all she gives him is an emotional body bag. Meanwhile, Pussy's got his own demons. FBI's squeezing him, making him wear a wire at AJ's confirmation. Night before, he's in the bathroom shaving his chest for the wire, trying to keep Angie out. She busts in, throws a mirror at him. Full domestic warfare. He almost hits her before Matt walks in and breaks it up. And that's when Matt notices blood on his old man's chest. Next day, confirmation goes off more or less. Except later, AJ's caught in the garage smoking weed with his cousins. Tony and Carmela are fuming. AJ hides out in his room, and Pussy goes in to give one of those "your father's a good man" speeches. He tells this heartbreaking story about Tony sitting by his dying sister's hospital bed every night. Then he hugs the kid, wire and all. The signal cuts out. Upstairs, the feds are panicking like it's the moon landing. Downstairs, the family's taking photos, laughing, smiling. Except for Pussy. He's in the bathroom, crying his guts out. And while all this heavy stuff's going down, Christopher Moltisanti's getting stars in his eyes again. He's having dinner with his cousin Greg, and Greg's fiancée, Amy. Hollywood type. Knows Jon Favreau. She invites Chris to a movie set. Suddenly, he's the cool mob guy from Jersey who knows his way around a script. They all grab lunch, talk shop. Chris tells Favreau a story about a wise guy and a transgender hooker. Next thing you know, he's sleeping with Amy, whispering mob stories between takes while Adriana's home lighting candles for their future wedding. When Adriana brings up marriage, he blows up, storms out, and runs to Amy's place saying he was in the neighborhood. Morning after, Amy starts growing a conscience, says they gotta tell Greg. Chris shuts her down. Then he finds Favreau's new script. And what do you know? That story he told in confidence is right there on the page. When he confronts Amy, she flips the switch. All business now. Studio's not into mob stuff anymore, she says. That night, the family's back together at the confirmation party. Tony pulls Chris aside and gives him the talk. Says he's got 10 minutes to decide what kind of man he's gonna be. You walk out that door, I'll never see you again. You stay here, you're ours. Chris sits on the steps, thinking it over. 10 minutes later, he walks back inside. That's it. Choice made. All right, picture this. Christopher Moltisanti's got that look again. You know, the one he gets right before everything goes to hell. He and Adriana are at it, screaming, slamming doors, that whole Jersey domestic symphony. Next thing you know, she's packing her bags, running back to her mother's house like it's witness protection. A couple days later, Chris shows up at her door. He tells her he messed up, abandoned her, treated her like crap. Then he pulls out a ring like it's supposed to erase all that. Adriana doesn't even think, just says, yes. Now, while all that love drama's playing out, two wannabe wise guys, Matthew Bevilacqua and Sean Gismont, they're working with Chris, cracking safes, boosting a few bucks here and there. Thing is, these kids got ambition, too much of it. So one day they go to see Richie Aprile, old school psycho fresh out of the joint, trying to introduce themselves. Richie cracks jokes about Chris's nose. The whole thing's awkward. Later at the Beta Bing, they spot Tony in the bathroom and figure this is their big moment. They barge in, start talking too much about jobs with Chris like they're in an interview or something. Tony looks at them and goes, "You shit-eating twat," because they didn't even think about the bathroom being bugged. Then Furio walks in to collect Tony's 10%, throws in a little extra for himself, and they get the picture real quick. This life's got a pecking order, and they're at the bottom. So they start talking. Maybe they gotta do something big, you know? Make a move, like back in the old days. Next thing you know, they're waiting outside a diner in Kearney. Nervous as hell, Christopher walks out with his coffee. No idea what's coming. They open fire, bang, bang, bang. Chris goes down, but the guy's tough. Shoots back, hits Sean right in the chest. Sean's panicking, trying to undo his seatbelt, and Chris puts him down for good. Matt takes off like his shoes are on fire. Runs straight to Richie's hangout, babbling about how they did it for him. Richie's face goes red. "You did what?" he says. Next thing you know, he's chasing this idiot down the street with a baseball bat. That's the thing about Richie. You never know if he's gonna hug you or kill you. Meanwhile, back in suburbia, Carmela's stressing about Meadow going to Berkeley. Says it's too far, too liberal. Wants her closer to home, she tells Tony. These days, you want to get into a good school. You either know someone or donate 5 buildings. Then she remembers her neighbor Jeannie's twin sister, Joan. Big shot at Georgetown. Joan tries to play nice. Says she can't do it. Carmela leans in, real calm, real polite, and says, "I'm not asking you. I want it." Joan goes, "Is that a threat?" Carmela smiles. "Of course not," and just walks out. A couple days later, Jeannie shows up at the door, pie plate in hand. Says Joan wrote the letter. That's Carmela for you. Par P.T., a mom part enforcer. Elsewhere, Silvio and Paulie are trying to get Richie to help out Beansy Gaeta. You know, the guy Richie ran over. They want his house fixed up so the guy can move around in a wheelchair. Richie doesn't want to hear it, till he finds out Tony's behind it. Then he sends Vito and a couple goons over, but they half-ass the job and disappear. When Tony hears that, he's pissed. So Richie tries to smooth it over. Brings Tony this old leather jacket, says it belonged to Rocco DeMio, toughest guy in Jersey back in the day. Tony plays nice, takes it. Then later gives the jacket to his cleaning lady's husband, some Polish cab driver. Next time Richie comes over, he sees the guy wearing it. You can see it in his face. Humiliation. The jacket, the pride, the past. All gone. Just another ghost of a tough guy who doesn't matter anymore. Then the phone rings. Christopher's been shot. Tony and the crew rush to the hospital, the whole family gathered around his bed. Machines beeping, everyone whispering prayers they don't really believe in. Tony just sits there looking at his surrogate son hooked up to wires and says quietly, "How could this happen?" Christopher Moltisanti's laid up in the ICU. Tubes everywhere. Bleeping machines, humming like bad jazz. The kids hanging on by a thread. Family and friends crowd in the halls, looking like they're all at a wake that hasn't happened yet. Then in the middle of the night, boom, flatline. Heart stops cold. The doctors rush in, chest pumps, paddles flying, alarms screaming. For over a minute, Chris is gone, clinically dead. And just when it looks like the lights are out for good, they bring him back. Carmela's rattled to the core. She ducks into an empty room, all alone, starts praying to Jesus, says everyone in her family chose their line of work with their eyes open, but begs him to cut Chris some slack. Let him see the light, she whispers. When Chris finally wakes up, he ain't the same. He asks to see Tony and Paulie. They lean in and he tells them this wild story. He went to hell, not heaven. Not some tunnel of light. Hell. Says he saw Brendan Falone and Mikey Palmer sitting in an Irish bar down there sending Tony and Paulie a message. 3 o'clock. Tony rolls his eyes. Thinks the morphine's talking. But Paulie? That guy's spooked. Big time. Next few nights, he's waking up at 3 a.m. on the dot, sweating, screaming, scaring his girlfriend's kids half to death. The message is eating him alive. So, his girl drags him to a psychic, some candle-burning lady in a tracksuit who claims she can see the dead. She tells Paulie she's surrounded by spirits. Paulie storms out of there and heads to church, rips into a priest about how he's been dropping envelopes in the collection plate for years, and what does he get for it? Ghosts. The church turned his back on me, he yells. Says he's done making donations. The holy protection racket's over. Later, he finds Chris in recovery and tells him maybe what he saw wasn't hell. Maybe it was purgatory. You ain't gone all the way down yet, kid, he says, trying to convince himself as much as Chris. Meanwhile, back at the Soprano house, Carmela's in one of her moods. She finds out Ralph Cifaretto, some mid-level maniac, just had a kid with his Brazilian side piece. She brings it up to Tony, all tight-lipped and calm at first. Then she drops the bomb. She wants him to get a vasectomy. Says she's tired of worrying about bastard kids popping up with his eyes and her migraines. Tony waves it off, says he's not even seeing his Gooma anymore. Carmela don't buy it. Next thing, she's grabbing a pillow and storming off to the couch. Then she finds out Tony lied to her about Christopher's vision. Told her Chris saw heaven. Chris, meanwhile, told her flat out he was in hell that burns her even worse. Next day, Tony's trying to play dad. Yells at AJ for spilling food on the floor. Then feels bad about it 5 minutes later. Apologizes. You can see the guy's trying. He tells Carmela he'll get the vasectomy if she still wants it. She says, no. What she wants is for him to be hers. Body, mind, and soul. And that night, they make up the old-fashioned way. Across town, Big Pussy's losing it. He's working both sides. Tony's crew and the feds. And the paranoia's eating him alive. He's convinced Tony knows. So his FBI handler tells him, make Tony love you again. So Pussy goes out and finds Matthew Bevilacqua, the little punk who shot Christopher. He tracks him down to some park out in Jersey and calls Tony. The two of them meet there and they do the job. Boom, boom, boom. Kid never had a chance. Afterwards, they hit a steakhouse. Same joint Pussy took Tony to after his first kill. The air's thick. Nostalgia. Guilt, maybe both. They drink. Crack a few jokes. Talk about how long they've been together. Then Tony looks across the table and asks, you believe in God? Pussy nods. Says, yeah. God's been real good to him. Tony raises his glass and says, yeah, me too. They clink glasses, blood still on their hands, both of them knowing damn well. They're already halfway to hell. So the cops, yeah, they find themselves a witness. Some poor schmuck who swears he saw Tony Soprano as one of the guys who whacked that punk Matthew Bevilacqua. Next thing you know, word gets back to Tony, and the guy's sweating bullets. Heart going a mile a minute. He starts thinking about bailing. New identity, new town, maybe a beach somewhere that don't got extradition. He grabs a duffel bag stuffed with cash, the kind of bag that makes a man walk funny, and drops it on his lawyer Neil Mink's desk. Take care of my family, he says, just in case things go south. Mink doesn't even blink. That's old hat to him. Then, just when it looks like Tony's gonna have to disappear for real, the witness gets wise, realizes who he's fingering. Mafia business. He damn near sprints back to the cops to say he made a mistake. Just like that, Tony's off the hook. Clean. Now, Tony and Richie Aprile, they're running a different kind of hustle. They got this guy, Davey Scatino. a nice enough suburban guy with a sporting goods store and a bad habit for cards. Tony and Richie start bleeding him dry, buying stuff on his credit, selling it on the street for quick cash. Every week, another delivery, another box gone. And Davey, he's circling the drain. Tony tells him straight up, "We'll keep going till there's nothing left to squeeze. Then we walk away. That's clean. Cold as ice." Davey's begging for mercy, but Tony's been through this dance before. It's just business to him. He even reminds Davey, the game was fair. Could have won big. Just didn't. Meanwhile, Carmela's having lunch at Vesuvio's with Davey's wife. She's worried sick. Says Davey's gambling again, disappearing at night. Carmela nods, sips her wine. Doesn't say a word, but you can tell. She knows exactly where that money went. Richie, though, he's not satisfied. Thinks Tony's cutting him short on both the store and the garbage route. He goes to Uncle Junior, starts whispering about how maybe it's time to take Tony out. Junior shuts him down, says it's a bad idea. Richie reminds him, "You wanted him gone once, too." Junior don't like hearing that, but Richie's not wrong. Over at the store, Davey's too ashamed to even go home. The guy's sleeping in a damn tent between shelves of basketballs and ski boots. One night, Tony stops by, finds him sitting there, looking like the ghost of Christmas past. Davey asks, "How does this end, Tone?" And Tony, without flinching, tells him the truth. "We bleed you dry, you go bankrupt, we call it even." That's the thing about Tona. He don't sugarcoat it. Somewhere in between all this, Tony swings by the hospital to see Beansy Gator. Guy Richie ran over with a car a while back. Tony tries to make it right, slips him 50 grand. But you can tell, it's more about Tony's conscience than Beansy's bills. And while all this is going down, Carmela, she's fighting her own temptations. There's this handyman, Victor Musto, brother of Davey's wife, niece guy, widower, soft eyes. He fixes her railing. She bakes him cookies, and before you know it, they're kissing in the foyer. Then they pull apart, both realizing how deep they just stepped in. Later, he calls her, says he wants to talk. She invites him over, cooks up a fancy dinner, but before he can show, Victor finds out Tony's the guy wrecking his brother-in-law's life. So he sends his assistant instead. Carmela's left sitting there alone, candles burning, table set for two. Tony, meanwhile, is trying to play Dad of the Year, taking Meadow out, hanging with AJ, trying to connect. Don't really click. Not until he takes AJ out on the boat. They end up capsizing a couple guys in a canoe by accident. And when AJ starts laughing, Tony does too. For a second, just a second, you see it. The guy's not a mob boss, not a monster, just a dad with his kid, laughing in the sun like everything's normal. All right, picture this. Jersey's humming in the summer heat, trash trucks rolling down the streets, envelopes changing hands, everything's business as usual. Until it ain't. See? Uncle Junior and Richie Aprile, two old school wise guys with more ego than sense, decide they're gonna juice up their profits a little. They start moving cocaine along the garbage routes. Nice and simple, they figure. Trucks are already rolling. Cash is already flowing. Who's gonna notice a few extra bags? But Tony hears about it, and he's not happy. He calls Richie in, gives him the stare. You know, that Soprano death glare that could melt the paint off a Buick. He tells Richie, "No drugs on the routes. You bring heat down on my sanitation front, we're all screwed." Richie, being Richie, acts like he's taking it in stride. But the second he walks out of there, he's fuming. Then Junior finds out Tony pulled the plug, and he ain't exactly thrilled either. The guy's up to his eyeballs in legal bills and medical costs, and that extra cash was keeping him afloat. So he figures, screw Tony, he's gonna keep running product. That's the thing about these guys. Every one of them thinks they're the smartest guy in the room. Meanwhile, Tony's lawyer, Neil Mink, smooth as silk, no nonsense, tells him straight up, "You got lucky with that Bevilacqua mess, but next time, don't count on it. The feds are watching. Maybe start looking like you actually work for that waste management company you're always talking about." So Tony tries it, puts on a tie, shows up at Barone Sanitation like some 9-to-5 stiff, but it's killing him. He's sitting there in that bland little office, bored out of his skull, surrounded by guys talking about tire contracts and trash routes. So what does Tony do? Starts banging the receptionist, this girl Connie, and running sports betting pools in the break room. The guy just can't help himself. And Melfi? She ain't doing too hot either. All those sessions with Tony, all that bottled-up violence and charm, it's starting to get under her skin. She starts hitting the bottle between appointments. One night, she's out at dinner with her son, Jason. Nice kid. And she gets into it with some guy smoking nearby. Starts yelling across the restaurant, slurring her words. Jason's mortified. Her own shrink, Dr. Kupferberg, sees the crack showing and ramps up her therapy. But you can tell, she's in deep with this Soprano business, whether she admits it or not. Then there's Uncle Junior, wheezing like an old radiator. Doctor tells him he's got sleep apnea, gives him one of those CPAP machines. While he's getting discharged, he bumps into Catherine Romano, widow of one of his old pals, Niece Lady, real old school. She brings him manicotti, flirts a little, even comes over to check on him. Junior tries to play it cool, hides the fact he's under house arrest. But when he gets his damn hand stuck in the garbage disposal for 6 hours, he caves and calls her. She shows up, frees him, and next thing you know, she's tucking him into bed, strapping on his sleep mask like it's foreplay. Back in therapy, Melfi drops a word on Tony. Alexithymia. Fancy way of saying he's one of those guys who can't process emotion. If he's not hustling, screwing, or blowing something up, he falls apart. You need constant stimulation, she says. Otherwise, you gotta face the pain you cause. Tony just stares at her, jaw tight, like she said the quiet part out loud. Next thing you know, he's back at Satriales, surrounded by his crew. Cigars lit, money change in hands, order restored. Even the feds roll by. Agent Harris, all smiles, shaking hands, cracking jokes with Tony and the guys out front. And that's the thing about Jersey. 1 minute, it's chaos. Next minute, everyone's laughing like nothing ever happened. All right, picture it like this. Richie Aprile's kid is out there gliding across a dance floor, practicing ballroom moves like he's Fred Astaire. Tony's got problems. Emotional, domestic, and otherwise. Janice, big mouth that she is, tells him she knows all about his Russian girlfriend, Irina, that gets under his skin. Out of shame, or maybe guilt, Tony decides to cut Irina loose. She starts crying, saying she'll kill herself if he leaves. Tony, cold as stone, walks out anyway. A couple days later, the phone rings. It's Irina's cousin, Svetlana, telling him Irina actually did it. Tony shows up at the hospital, trying to look like the hero, telling her she needs help. And when Tony confesses it all to Carmela, trying to look like he's being honest, she explodes. You're putting me in a position where I feel sorry for the whore who fucks you. To smooth things over, Tony sends Silvio to Irina's place with a goodbye gift. 75 grand in cash. Silv and Svetlana convince her to move on. That little fire's out, but the one burning between Tony and Richie Aprile, that's still blazing. Now Richie's playing dangerous. Him and Junior are moving coke on the trash routes, and Tony ain't having it. And when Tony cuts him off, he starts thinking maybe it's time for new management. Meanwhile, Carmela's playing the suburban wife routine at a bridal shop with Janice. Janice is gushing about her upcoming wedding to Richie, and Carmela, with that sharp soprano tongue, tells her all marriages end up the same way. Later, she runs into Vic Musto, that painter she almost cheated with, at a hardware store. She thanks him for not showing up to that lunch they planned. Says she would have done something she'd regret. The two share a moment, quiet, sad, unfinished. Then there's Pussy. Poor bastard. He's wearing a wire now, working for the feds, and it's twisting him up inside. He's starting to think he's some kind of special agent, following Chris around like he's in the Untouchables. He tries tailing him to a hijacking, crashes his car, ends up in the hospital. His FBI handler tells him to knock it off. You're not on payroll, Pussy. Just stick to snitching on Tony. Janice tells Richie that Tony don't even want the kids around him. Says he's poison. Richie loses it. Goes to Uncle Junior. Pitches the idea of taking Tony out. Junior hesitates. He's been down this road before. But Richie keeps pushing. Says he's got support from the other crews. Junior says, fine. Maybe they think about it. Richie runs to Albert Baris, tries to rally him behind the hit. Albert practically laughs in his face. No dice. Junior takes one look at that and realizes Richie's got no pull, no respect, no brains. He calls Tony, gives him the heads up. Richie's plotting something. Tony brings it to Silvio, says, "What do we do?" Silv shrugs, calm as always. He's a problem, Tone, and problems get solved. Only the solution comes sooner than anyone planned. That night, Richie's at home, sitting at the dinner table with Janice. They're talking about his kid, Richie Jr., who's into ballroom dancing. Richie calls him soft. Janice defends the kid, says she don't care if he's gay. Richie sneers, calls her stupid, and then, bam, cracks her right across the mouth. Janice gets up, walks into the next room, quiet, comes back holding a gun. Before Richie can even register it, she shoots him square in the chest. He gasps, tries to say something, but she puts another one in him. Done. Panicked, she calls Tony. "I need help," she says. Tony shows up, calm as ever, handles it. Brings in Chris and Furio. They take Richie's body to Satriale's and carve him up like a side of beef. Then Tony buys Janice a one-way bus ticket to Seattle. Says goodbye, no hugs, no tears. Just another problem off the board. Later, Tony and Carmela are sitting around talking. She asks where Richie went. Tony gives her that look. Says, "He ain't coming back." Carmela gets it. You can see the chill run down her spine, but instead of pushing, she pivots. Says she and Rosalie are going to Rome. "Maybe we'll see the Pope." She smiles, half serious. Then, with that Carmela bite, she adds, "Unless, of course, I just might commit suicide." In the life of Tony Soprano, the hits don't stop. They just get personal. It all starts with Tony and his kid sister Barbara heading over to Ma's place. Livia's sitting there in her old house, still playing the victim. Acting like she's got all the time in the world, Tony. Trying to do the good son thing. Says they gotta figure out where she's gonna live. That's it. Tony snaps. Throws down 2 plane tickets to Tucson, tells her to take her sister Quintina and beat it. "Don't come back," he says. She just stares at him. Tony's out eating with Silvio and Big Pussy at Artie Bucco's joint after hitting an Indian restaurant earlier. They're talking shop, this new calling card scam they got going. It's one of those smooth mob business meals. Wine, cigars, envelopes slid under the table. But later that night, Tony's stomach starts rumbling. And that's when things get weird. He crashes hard and starts dreaming. Real vivid stuff. He's walking down the boardwalk in Asbury Park and all the guys are there. Tony's been told he's got 6 months to live. Cancer, maybe. And he's already made peace with it, but then the guys tell him he's not gonna die from sickness. Nah, he's gonna kill himself. Tony jolts awake, sweating, puking, and running for the bathroom. He's got full-blown food poisoning, but the fever dreams don't stop. Next thing, he's seeing Uncle Junior, wandering around some factory, and Silvio showing up saying, "Our real enemy hasn't shown himself yet." Tony passes out again, dreaming about banging Dr. Melfi right there on the therapy couch. Yeah, his subconscious is working overtime. When he finally drags himself back into therapy, he starts ranting about Indians. Total racist tirade. Then swings over to his mother. Melfi calls him out on it, tries to push him deeper, but he deflects like always. Then he casually drops, "By the way, I dreamed about us having sex." She's stunned. He storms out. That night, he gets one more dream. He's talking to Pussy. Only Pussy's a fish. The fish says, "You know I'm working with the government, right?" Tony wakes up shaken. Maybe it's the fever talking, maybe not. But the seed's planted. Next morning, Meadow drops the big news. She got into Colombia. Tony's proud, sure, but he's got other things on his mind. He grabs Silvio, and they head over to Pussy's house. They tell him they're going out on the boat, nice and friendly. But Tony's got that look in his eye. The one that says, "This ain't no pleasure cruise." They find Pussy's wire before they even leave. The jig's up. Out on the water, just the 4 of them. Tony, Paulie, Sil, and Pussy. Tony confronts him. "How long you been flipping, huh?" Pussy denies it, then crumbles. Says he didn't give up nothing big, that is not what it looks like. Tony don't buy it. Sil pretends he's seasick and steps out. Then he says, "Can I sit down? My balance is off." He's shaken, scared. Tony nods. Pussy takes a breath, and that's it. The 3 of them pull their triggers. Quick, clean. They wrap him in chains, dump him overboard. He disappears into the dark water. Hours later, Tony gets a call. It's Livia. She's been stopped at the Newark airport, caught with stolen airline tickets. Within minutes, the FBI is banging on Tony's door with a search warrant. They find the same tickets in his car, cuff him, drag him in for questioning. The agents are loving it. One even mocks him, says the big bad Tony Soprano looks weak in the knees. Tony snaps, tells him he's got food poisoning. They toss him in a holding cell just long enough to rattle him. He calls his lawyer, Neil Mink, and makes bail, just in time for Meadow's graduation. Next day, the whole family's there. Meadow gets her diploma. Everyone's smiling. Tony's beaming, proud as hell. Afterward, he pulls Chris aside, tells him he's getting his button. Gonna be made big moment. That night, there's a little party at the house. Food, music, laughter. Carmela's mingling. Meadow's celebrating. Tony's standing off to the side, quiet, lighting a cigar. The camera lingers. The smoke drifts up, his face half in shadow. Then it cuts to the ocean. Waves crashing against the shore. The sunset bleeding into the horizon. Another chapter closed. One friend buried at sea. One daughter heading off to college. And Tony Soprano standing between both worlds. Family man, mob boss, sinner, survivor.